law, breaking the 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 law.
Where is he? Got it, Dave. Do whatever you need. I got it. Thank you, sir. There we go, guys. Got your pursuit ready. Anybody else here, Dave? Okay, we're the solo ones, guys. If you want to break it. KMBC1 Sam, I don't have any IFB. NOC Sam, I don't have any IFB. If you can help me out with that, please. Okay, no. Okay, it's still Buena Park. Copy that. Let's get the driver's side. Let's. Can we break it or no? No, we're still in today's show. Here we go. Northbound Lakewood Boulevard, coming through an intersection right there. Just passing Graham Street. I got the IFB now. Thank you. Through the red at Gardendale. Alleged stolen vehicle out of Buena Park. Oh, I'm waiting too. Hold on. There we go. Just crossing over the 105 there. Ran a red light. Approaching Imperial Highway. Should be approaching Imperial here shortly. Following this pursuit here. Going to slow me down just a little, Dave. I think it's, if you don't mind. Following a pursuit here. Buena Park Police Department is in pursuit. We're continuing northbound on Lakewood Boulevard. Right now we are in the Bellflower area. Let's do a white balance here. Yeah, I don't stand by. Yeah, it should be Bellflower area. It went down the 91 westbound, exited Lakewood Boulevard, got off the freeway, went southbound, turned around. Now we're northbound Lakewood Boulevard. And we should be coming up into the Downey area now, actually. In Downey, northbound Lakewood Boulevard, just major streets going to be Stewart and Gary Road coming up here shortly. Stewart and Gary Road. Okay. Buena Park Pursuit is out of their area. Got to pull up Downey now. New Strapper 4 is still the only one covering this. Dave, when we have company, if you would let me know, please. Roger. Roger that. Downey PD has been notified. Any information you can pass, that's awesome. Thank you. Yo. Copy that. Absolutely, sounds good. Let me pull up Downey PD. Sorry. See, the vehicle is still continuing northbound here, coming up on a major road here, turning right, going eastbound now. I'll get you that street here in a minute. Little difficult. I don't hear them. Freeways. So we're working our way towards the 605 freeway. We're on Firestone Boulevard going eastbound on Firestone Boulevard, approaching the 605. You can see down, Buena Park Police Department still in pursuit following this vehicle. Pursuit originated out of the Buena Park city limits, an alleged stolen vehicle, that red vehicle that they're following right now, eastbound Firestone Boulevard as we come up on the 605. Originally it was on the freeway. CHP was getting into position to assist the units. However, since it exited the freeway, Buena Park still the primary handling this right now. We're monitoring Buena Park PD right now as we are going about 45 miles per hour along Firestone Boulevard, getting closer to the 605, and we'll see what option the suspect's going to do as we approach the 605 freeway. Is that 5 out there? Okay, Raj. I got 5 to our 9 o'clock. Just crossing over the riverbed, we're going eastbound. We're going eastbound on Firestone Boulevard. This will be an option if the suspect is going to take the freeway right there. But right now we'll see what the option is. We're kind of heading back into the area, going into the Target parking lot. That is a Target parking lot. This is probably going to be a dead end right here. I don't see a way out here. So let's see what happens here. I think that was one of the only main ways to get in the parking lot. So now they're preparing for a foot bail. The suspect may be getting ready to run out of the vehicle. You can see him going through the parking lot here. This is a Target parking lot going around in a circle. That's where we're starting to see some of these dangerous speeds here. Fortunately, the store is not open right now. See, we don't see too many people. Look at those people having to run away. They had to run to get away from that car. So we still do have a few patrons in this area. Very dangerous taking it into this parking lot where there are pedestrians. You can see the erratic driving. They're going to box them in. They're going to be able to box them in right there. You can see, boom, you just tried to do that pit maneuver. Almost had a pit maneuver right there. So very erratic driving right now. This escalates the level of this pursuit. Now we've seen what the suspect is capable of doing, trying to get away from officers right now. So they are definitely stepping up their game right now because that was a very dangerous move what that suspect did. We're going to move News Chopper forward just a little as it comes underneath us. And we're still on Firestone Boulevard. Eastbound Firestone Boulevard, just crossing over the 605 freeway, kind of going back into the city limits where this pursuit originated. Good job there, Dave. Thank you. Still continuing on Firestone Boulevard. Do me a favor, I'm going to need to be up on the side of it when you get a chance, just because of the sun. We're shooting towards the sun. Okay, we're coming up on some traffic here. I'm hearing there's going to be some cross traffic. We're going to pull out. According to the airship, she's indicating there's going to be some cross traffic coming up in this area. This is Firestone Boulevard. We're headed back towards the Buena Park area. And so here's a red light right over here. This is the cross traffic she's talking about. Let's see what the suspect decides to do. Dangerous maneuvers right there, going right there. He's stuck. You see how he cuts in right between those vehicles and makes a northbound turn on that street. We're going to get you this street here in a second here. I have to pull out here. That sun is directly in my eyes. Buena Park unit still following this vehicle, still close behind this car. Oh, hello. You can see this is a residential street here. Fortunately, schools are not in session. Most schools are out of session, so we don't see any families or children walking in this area right now. A residential neighborhood going that fast, not the best option here. Through a stop sign. Look how he just goes right through a stop sign. No regard for any laws, just blazing through those stop signs. And we saw the dangerous, erratic maneuvers that suspect did at the Target location off of Firestone Boulevard, going over the train tracks right now. Now we're going in a northbound direction, paralleling the 5 freeway. We'll get you the major street here in a second. You got eyes on it, Dave? You can put it on your side if you need. Look at making that turn right there. Made a sharp turn. We're westbound on Hervey Street. We're westbound on Hervey Street. We are in the Downey area. We're in the Downey area, and this would be a great opportunity for the Buena Park Police Department to initiate a pit maneuver. You see him going over some of those, what appears to be some dips. Cars getting a little air as he does that. Slowing it down. You can see Buena Park really close behind. They may be actually getting ready to pit this vehicle. As this vehicle makes a turn, that may be the perfect time for them to initiate it. He's getting right up on the rear of that vehicle. That officer is getting ready to bring this pursuit to an end. He's going to try to pit this vehicle and bring it to a successful, safe ending. Hopefully we won't have any injuries. Making that right turn there. I think we may be back on Lakewood Boulevard here. We're on a major street here. We'll get that cross for you here in a second. We're northbound on Studebaker right now, so we're still a little bit east of the 605. Northbound on Studebaker, we're in the Downey area. Paralleling the 605 freeway on Studebaker, you can see Buena Park PD getting really close right now. We believe only have one occupant in the vehicle. One occupant. It's an alleged stolen vehicle coming out of the Buena Park area. Northbound on Studebaker. Got a red light at Florence. You can see the wrong side of the road. And now we're on Florence Avenue, turning left on Florence, which puts us westbound on Florence Avenue. Westbound on Florence Avenue from Studebaker, and that's coming up underneath the 605 freeway right there. And you can see as we get in these major roads, we can see how the speeds are increasing. The suspect is going a lot faster in this particular area. Westbound Florence Avenue, westbound Florence Avenue. About 50 to 55 miles per hour, according to the LA County Airship. They have the LA County Airship monitoring and following this pursuit from above. And you can see Buena Park Police following on the ground. They are close behind this vehicle. They want to bring this pursuit to a stop. Next major street is going to be Lakewood Boulevard. So we are westbound on Florence, and we'll be approaching Lakewood Boulevard here in approximately 30 seconds here. It's about a half a mile away. Pulling out here a little so you can see what traffic is doing up ahead. Here we go, coming up on a major intersection. Probably going to try to initiate a right turn there or going around. 3 minutes, Roger. See how that deputy or that police car's get, oh, look at that pedestrian right there, just kind of having to get out of the way. Bring it. Northbound on, sounds good. Bring it. Downing. Watch TV5. Look, thank you. With very dangerous pursuit, News Chopper 4, the first on the scene following this pursuit. I believe we're on Lakewood Boulevard right now. This originated out of Buena Park PD. They were following an alleged stolen vehicle out of Buena Park west on the 91 freeway. In fact, you can see right now, it looks like we may be getting back onto the freeway here. So we're getting on the freeway. Let me get you the freeway here. Dave, he's probably going to try to do a pit maneuver, but that's not the case right now. So here's the story. This red vehicle, an alleged stolen vehicle coming out of the Buena Park area. We're going to maneuver News Chopper 4 so we can see him on the freeway. He's going north on the 5. This appears to be northbound 5 freeway, approaching the 605. I can't tell if it's northbound or southbound right now, but it's southbound 5. South 5 going back towards Buena Park. So a dangerous pursuit, and we say that because at times a suspect ran in or drove into a Target parking lot, almost hit a couple of shoppers who were in the area, running red lights, running stop signs. So this person has no regards for the law as of is right now. Stolen vehicle out of Buena Park. You can see Buena Park PD following very close behind on the southbound 5 coming into the Norwalk area.
And Megan, earlier we saw, as you were mentioning, he was in that Target parking lot. Shoppers were walking around, you know, doing possibly some holiday shopping, last minute Thanksgiving shopping. And there were some opportunities there to stop this car because he was in that parking lot, but he just got away. He's been really lucky.
He did, and very dangerous driving, not only in the parking lot, but on the freeway right now. You can see he was using the right shoulder for most of the time, and now he's in the left lane, southbound side of the 5 freeway as we come up onto, looks like just approaching the 605 interchange. And this driver is driving really erratically here. You can see Buena Park PD, they want this guy. That's the 605 that we're just crossing under. They've stayed with this pursuit for quite some time. LA County Sheriff's Air Division is following from above right now. They are calling out the speeds, and right now we're hearing speeds coming about 75, 80 miles per hour. This is very dangerous right now on the 5 freeway. Look at him having to slam on his brakes there because of that box truck here. So this is going to get worse because traffic is going to start slowing down, especially through this construction zone.
You know, and as Daniela pointed out, they had multiple opportunities to pull pit maneuvers when they were on the side streets. Things get much more complicated when you get onto the freeways, especially when you have other vehicles nearby, because now you have other potential victims in the immediate vicinity of this driver. We've already seen the driver in the red Honda Civic there willing to do whatever it takes pretty much to get away from these pursuing officers. Megan Reyes, if you can just kind of keep us updated here on where we are right now. I know we were southbound 5 near the 605. It's still a busy morning, though, the tail end of rush hour. Where are we heading towards right now?
We're coming up on Pioneer, South 5 approaching Pioneer. You can see that Buena Park PD unit is really close behind this vehicle. This guy is trying to shake off that police officer, and that is not happening. Speeds are increasing. Now, I am looking out the windshield of News Chopper 4, and about a half a mile away, that's when we start hitting the morning traffic. That's going to be around Norwalk Boulevard. So shortly, you're going to see some erratic driving. We don't know what the suspect's going to do, because coming into the construction area, you see that big sound wall there off to the left and the right. There's no right shoulder in this area. All the lanes are going to be stopped, so we're going to see some erratic maneuvers right now. Great job to Buena Park PD staying really close behind. And yes, they tried to execute the pit maneuver a couple of times, but that suspect was able to just get away. At one point, it seems he almost rammed one of the PD units in the target parking lot. So here we go. This is the traffic I'm starting to talk about here. This we start seeing. He may be exiting the freeway, but you can see that Buena Park unit really close behind. And if he does exit, that'll be the perfect moment to execute that pit maneuver. So far, we're hearing one male suspect in this red vehicle. That's an alleged stolen vehicle out of Buena Park. Here we go.
And
Coming off the freeway.
There's that traffic. We lost him right there under the bridge, under the freeway, but maybe he'll reappear right there. We're looking at a red Honda Civic. Again, this started in Buena Park.
Maneuver. Get me on the other side, please.
Megan's communicating with the chopper pilot. We're trying to move around here so we can get a better view. We lost the pursuit as it went under the overpass there. But as we sort of zoom in here, we'll be able to find those pursuing patrol cars. Megan, one thing that's interesting when you have a pursuit like this and you go off, it starts in one jurisdiction and then goes from city to city. You have different agencies that can be involved sometimes.
Dave, you're
as we reestablish the shot, Megan,
still on the move.
Have we seen CHP join in on this pursuit, or is it still police from Buena Park?
Guys, let me just get back into position here. We're right on top of it. In fact, this one was pretty hard to shake off here. The suspect apparently, we thought they did a pit maneuver, and that's why he didn't come out the other side. But for apparently some reason, he came out on the same side, so we're not sure what happened underneath that freeway. CHP earlier was requested. Do you have eyes on it, Dave? I'm shooting 9 o'clock. Pilot Dave is doing a great job keeping us here on this pursuit. It is continuing northbound right now, so we'll get into position here. But we know that CHP earlier was assisting, but it got off the freeway. So usually when it's off the freeway, CHP will hand it back to the agency. And again, it's the agency, which is Buena Park. It's their choice whether or not they want to be primary, and so far they've been sticking with this pursuit. It's going on for at least about 25 minutes right now.
Megan, it looks like this driver, what we saw, he got off the freeway. Now looks like it could be a residential area. Can you give us an idea of where he is right now?
Right now we're let me just get you set. We're in the Norwalk area, and we're back on Firestone Boulevard. So you can see he's making a right turn on Firestone Boulevard, and he is going eastbound on Firestone Boulevard. He's going eastbound, Dave. So units are still really close behind, following this guy. There's the sheriff's helicopter above. She's calling out the position, the speeds right now, but we are in the Norwalk area, eastbound Firestone Boulevard, going away from the 5 freeway. And yes, more of a residential area right now. At times, we saw him go through some residential neighborhoods, running through stop signs, not even taking any time to slow down to see if there was any cross traffic. And that's going to be the case right up here. Cross traffic, according to the airship. You can see how he goes on the wrong side of the road. Look at this car making a left turn right over there, and just a near miss right in that particular spot there. So pretty dangerous here coming up on these intersections. As you can see, that suspect has no regards for any of the traffic laws, no safety for any of the people on the roads here with them.
Now, when they get on these city streets, the law enforcement officers have a number of tools at their disposal. We talked about the pit maneuvers. We've seen a couple attempts that failed earlier on in this pursuit. They can also deploy spike strips, but the challenge there is they have to get out in front of him. And it seems like this vehicle, this red Honda Civic, has been able to stay in front of the officers. But Megan, here we are going the wrong way in incoming traffic, just incredibly dangerous.
It is, and that's Telegraph Road, and he has no regards for anybody as he was going on the wrong side of the road. And you are correct, Whit. They try to set up those spike strips, and sometimes it's just hard to predict where to lay that spike strip down, and especially at high rate of speeds, it's very dangerous. You got to understand, there's a police officer out there who is manually throwing those spike strips out in front of that vehicle. vehicle, and so to predict where the suspect is going to be, where they can deploy that spike strip is a challenge all by itself. But when you have a vehicle traveling this high rate of speeds and driving this erratic, it only puts more to that equation of how dangerous it is.
And Megan, are you hearing how fast he's going right now? Do you think he's still going about 70 miles an hour?
That's, in fact, I just heard her give the update. Vehicle's going about 75 miles per hour, and this is surface streets here. We do have a major surface street here. It's not one of the smaller surface streets, but we are still in the Lakewood area. Santa Fe Springs, coming up into the Santa Fe Springs area. I'll try to get you an exact cross street, but you can see as we come up on this intersection, using that right lane to just blaze right through. I believe he did have the green light, so if anything, that's good news. We are going northbound. I believe this might actually be Norwalk Boulevard. Norwalk Boulevard going to be approaching Slauson here. If you know this area, the 605 freeway is off to the west side. To the east side is the city of Norwalk, so we should be approaching Slauson here any minute.
And when it comes to a pursuit like this, we've seen in our area when it's this dangerous, sometimes the law enforcement agencies pursuing the vehicle will actually back off if they think it's getting too dangerous. But it looks like here they are attempting perhaps another pit maneuver there. But it's in such tight quarters
right there,
Megan. And there it is, that pit maneuver on the right back tire.
Yes, in fact, both of them got that pit maneuver. That's a great pit maneuver. You can look how quickly they had their guns drawn. That's right off of Harvard Street. Right off of Harvard Street, guns drawn, telling that driver to get out of the vehicle, and maybe a little difficulty because you can see unit number 6 is right against the door of the vehicle. They do that to make sure that that suspect would not run out and get into a foot pursuit. Let's go ahead and turn News Chopper 4 around the other way. We're going to go onto the passenger side of this pursuit where it ended. But this is right off of Harvard Street. We are still in the Santa Fe Springs area. Units have their guns drawn right now, telling this driver to get out of the vehicle, so we're not sure whether or not he is complying. We're going to move this helicopter around here to get out of the sun so we can get you a better angle here.
And the driver could be pinned in. That patrol car is right up against that the driver's side door right there. But this is always a dangerous moment. The officers with guns drawn, yelling their commands to this driver. They're going to give him very specific instructions. They'll want to see his hands, both hands out of the window. But it's interesting with that door pinned shut, how they're going to pursue with this here.
And as of now, Megan, you said that we're being told that there's only one person inside that vehicle. Is that right?
Yeah, one person inside that vehicle, and in fact, that was part of the tactic when they did that pit maneuver. They're always concerned that the suspect is going to get out in a foot bail, and so if they can block that driver's side door, that gives officers more time to actually get around to the passenger side. So that's the way they're going to have to extract that driver, is through the passenger side. Looking inside right now, I'm looking at the hands. I don't see what the suspect is doing. We'll still be very careful as far as what we're going to show, but this was right off of Harvard Street here. We'll get you a cross street here in a minute, but you can see officers do have their guns drawn. They are calling out, watch for crossfire, which means no officers will approach from the east. They want to make sure that nobody is going to be where that black vehicle is. They want to, in case there's a crossfire situation, they want to make sure no officers get hit. So right now, they are talking to this driver, and we're just waiting to see if this driver is going to comply. And we may actually have two people. I see somebody in the passenger seat. Not sure if that is the driver who made its way over to the passenger seat. So we may actually have another occupant in this vehicle.
Again, this started about 30 minutes ago. This car has been driving erratically in and out of the freeway. We saw it go, what you remember, through that parking lot at Target, which we're holding our breaths because there were people walking in and out of the store. I mean, parking lot people walking to their car. He was tight. He was speeding through that parking lot, and then he went in and out of the freeway. It was on the 5, and he's now in Santa Fe Springs, where he's been stopped after several attempts. The officers did the pit maneuver and pinned him inside.
Yeah, there were families literally jumping out of the way right in front of the front doors of that Target. One officer at one point came sort of nose to nose in his vehicle towards the suspect's vehicle, but was unsuccessful in the pit maneuver. We have to give some credit to these pursuing officers because it was very tight quarters weaving through traffic. The one patrol car that actually successfully pulled off that pit maneuver did a really sharp right turn, and right as they came around the bend, he was able to hit that back tire, a real sort of perfect execution of that tool. But right now, it's sort of this standoff situation that we're seeing where that driver's side door is pinned shut, officers with their guns drawn, yelling out their commands.
At this point, they want him to put their hands up, either get out of the car and lay down on the ground, but, you know, they want him to surrender. At this point, we haven't seen him exit the vehicle, so, you know, we're still trying to wait and see if he's cooperating, if he's complying, if he's not. But at some point, he was driving the wrong direction, just driving erratically, making the situation very dangerous. And those officers did a great job, staying with him, behind him. It's really hard to know where he's going to go, where he's going to turn, as Megan was saying, to lay down those spike strips.
Yeah, and Megan, if you can give us, as we're watching this, just I know we were on Harvard Street, but just a better idea of what's near there, maybe a cross street, an intersection, because I know there are some schools in the Santa Fe Springs area. We're just looking at the map, hoping to give some people a better idea of which areas to avoid.
We're in the area, the vicinity near Slauson and Norwalk Boulevard. Now, we're going to be south of Slauson, just east of Norwalk Boulevard. Those are going to be your major streets here. We were on we were on a smaller street here, so without losing the shot, I can't get the cross street right now. They're not referencing the cross street on the scanners. But again, that's the vicinity we are in, is on Slauson and Norwalk, just a little southeast of that intersection. They are still calling for that driver to come out of the vehicle. We did see somebody on the passenger side. We're not sure if that is a passenger or the driver. We believe there was one occupant in the vehicle, but as of right now, it does not appear anybody is complying. As I pull out, you can see there's just traffic going in the area, and it'll be a matter of time before they shut down some of that traffic on that road here. Again, you can see the end of this pursuit right off of Slauson and Norwalk in the Santa Fe Springs area. Looks like this officer may be, well, he's using his door as a protection. He may be actually backing his car up. We're not too sure if he's going to do that. But as of right now, we're still waiting to see what the suspect is going to do.
There's nowhere he can really go at this point, Megan. We do know he just would refuse to stop because, as we mentioned, he was driving the wrong way, and then he got really close to the freeway where he was almost stuck in traffic, but he got lucky. He was able to exit, and then he was able to go around some of those vehicles who were on a red light, still dangerously going the wrong direction.
Incredibly dangerous maneuvering. We saw multiple times when pedestrians were put into harm's way. Fortunately, they were able to get out of the way in time. Just back to this area that Megan was talking about quickly, Slauson and Norwalk. There are two schools within just blocks. You have Los Nietos Middle School a few blocks away, and you have Pioneer High School. So at this point, not knowing how this plays out, anybody who's in that area, you'll definitely want to avoid this area, and hopefully this will be wrapped up quickly and won't have an impact on the school.
Some schools, though, are out right now because of the holiday, but, we're not sure if these schools are out or not. But if they're not, this is definitely going to impact as well in traffic in that area. You can already see it slowing down right there. A lot of people stopping to see, waiting to see what's happening.
Definitely, and this is a very busy intersection. Megan, as you were talking about there, the officers are sort of lining up using the one vehicle and the open door as protection. Is there a patrol car on the other side of that red vehicle? I mean, could the suspect in the car open the passenger door and make a run for it that way?
Well, it's going to be hard to make a run for it. Yes, he can, but I'm going to show you kind of a wide shot here. The reason why that they don't do that is in case if there's a crossfire situation, most likely out of the screen a little to the east of us, they're shutting down this traffic. So you see all this traffic that's going westbound on this major street here. Well, they want to shut this traffic down. The worst case scenario is if this driver were to get that car started and drive away. So that's what they want to prevent from happening. But obviously the occupant or occupants in this vehicle, they are not complying with the demands of the officers, and you can see how that officer right there at the top of your screen, he's using that door as a shield. His door is pinned, the driver's door closed, so really the only option is for the driver to get out on the passenger side. But right now there's plenty of officers. I would not be surprised if they already had a K9 unit on scene. If not, most likely they are requesting one in case if the driver does decide to run. They will use the resource of that K9 as well as the police helicopter. You just saw the LA County Sheriff's helicopter fly above. They've got an observer up there. She is bringing the information down to those officers, relaying the information. Most likely she does have eyes on the driver and the passenger, passing along information where their hands are, and that's what they want to know. In fact, I see the hands of the passenger as his elbow is on the door right there, and you can see the hands. I'm zooming in there because that's what's really important is they want to see those hands. If you don't see the hands, look at that person right there. In fact, the person appears to be trying to get out. That's a female, so she's just sitting there, and the driver is sitting on the driver's side. So we have two people in the vehicle failing to comply right now. These officers, you see how they're carefully surrounded this vehicle. You've got these officers here. They've got their guns pointed in this direction. These officers got their guns pointed towards the drivers as well, and You don't see any officers to the north because they don't want that crossfire traffic. And in fact, they've already shut down the street now. So let me get you this street here. I'm going to toss it back to you guys, and I'll get you this major street here. It is south of Slauson Avenue, but we'll let you know what the street is.
Right. First reported, Megan. Thank you. There was one driver.
Yeah.
Now Megan has confirmed for us there are two drivers. There's somebody coming out of the vehicle. It appears with her hands up. It's a female, Megan, right?
Yeah, it is a female.
Walking
she is
backwards.
complying, and she's doing what this is what they're most likely telling her to do, is walk backwards towards the sound of our voice, and most likely they'll have her get on the ground. They're not going to, we're not sure if they're going to apprehend her right now because there's still one other person in the car, but they're bringing her back towards the officers. That's their safety zone, so they're going to put her in handcuffs, and now we might have another person in this vehicle, unless if that was just her, she may have been the solo occupant and just may have moved over to the driver's side. We're not too sure yet. I'm not hearing any scanner traffic, whether or not there's another individual, but the way they still have their guns positioned, we may still have another occupant. And look at those tinted windows there. The tinted windows are really dark in the back, which makes it difficult for officers to tell if somebody is in the back seat. So obviously they're not clearing that vehicle yet, so there is reason to believe that there may be additional people in this vehicle.
It's a good observation about the tinted windows because earlier it was reported that it was one male suspect driving the car, but they're always going to be cautious about the vehicle, no matter who's in the car, because they'll open the trunk and everything, and they'll do it very slowly and meticulously to make sure there isn't anything else they need to be worried about. Again, this vehicle reported stolen, and we saw just the dangerous manner in which the driver was evading police and many pedestrians put in harm's way. You never know what the full motivation is of that driver, so they're taking all necessary precautions.
And especially when it was making decisions, like you said, driving the wrong way, running red lights, speeding through a parking lot that he was in Target, rushing through and putting those people in danger, the people that were inside that parking lot. So they know those type of decisions that were made, and so they know they have to be extra careful with somebody driving a vehicle like this.
There's clearly concern, still obvious concern over that vehicle, because we can see the officers, they're not taking their eyes away from it. The guns are still drawn. So unclear now if there's somebody else still inside that red Honda Civic. But clearly there's concern. They took the woman into custody. Megan, I don't know if you're able to see or hear anything else from your vantage point about what's going on right now.
Yeah, officers just cleared the vehicle, indicating that the passenger has been cleared. So that's reason to believe that we still have the driver in the vehicle. I don't see anybody in the front seat. So obviously they have concerns, and they have reason to believe that there's somebody else in this vehicle. I don't know if somebody jumped to the back seat or not. I can't speculate that, but according to their body language and what I'm hearing on the scanner is that they extracted the passenger, so which means we still have another occupant in this vehicle who is not complying. And again, what makes it a dangerous situation, being a law enforcement officer who is down there right now with those guns pointed, you cannot see inside that window. That is a dark window back there, so you don't know what's happening. They do rely on the airship sometimes to inform them what the occupants of the vehicle are doing, but if they can't see the male driver and what the driver is doing, then the officers on the ground don't know what they're doing as well. So that makes this situation a little more dangerous, but they still have their guns drawn on that vehicle waiting for the other occupant to get out.
And again, just a recap as we're watching this standoff situation playing out, trying to figure out if there is, in fact, somebody else inside that vehicle. But this started as a report of a stolen car, that red Honda Civic there, earlier this morning in the Buena Park area. The driver led officers on a high-speed pursuit. There they go, pursuing the vehicle, looking in. Let me just make sure that...
We're getting some information from our producer that this is a male driver. This is the driver that they're waiting for, that they're pointing the gun at, we're told is a male driver.
There, you can see his hands right there.
Yeah. And you can see his hands. I don't know if he's putting in a park, but he's moving the shift there and waiting to see what he's going to do. They're obviously talking to him. They're in communication with him. They're looking into the car.
They're in very close proximity.
Yes.
That's for sure.
With their guns still
Kind of
drawn.
An odd situation with that door pinned.
Right. Maybe he can't get out. Maybe he's trying to get out through the passenger door.
You can see him coming out right now. You can see him
his legs.
climbing out of the front seat, having to come out with the passenger seat. Now, again, I'm going to keep a tight shot because I see his hands.
Okay.
Officers, obviously, if they felt comfortable enough to approach him, I want to be careful and not be, make sure we don't show anything that's going to be offensive. So here's the driver complying, being a little argumentative. You can always tell by their body language and the way he is is acting, but he is eventually complying. Most likely it's going to be the same procedure. They're still going to want him to back up. Whether or not he's going to do that, turn around, lift your shirt up, although his shirt's kind of already lifted. They want to make sure that they do not see any weapons in his waistband. That's very important. They want to check him for weapons. Even though his hands are up, officer safety is #1 concern. So most likely they'll have him back away from that vehicle because they'll still have to clear the vehicle, and they'll have him get on his knees and comply with those officers' demands. And once they put this suspect in custody, they will clear that vehicle. But they are still calling out demands, telling him to back up to the sound of their voice, and he's just taking his time complying with those demands.
And this is, this is that situation that we've seen time and time again, and officers are always watching for the behavior of the suspect. And not only do they want them to follow commands, but they want them to do it quickly. Whenever they start veering off or start becoming argumentative, that always is cause for concern. But right now, in close proximity, his hands still in the air, seems to be listening to some degree, but some arguing back and forth with the officer there as they give him the instructions.
Yeah, and he just told them to turn around. He does not want them facing officers. They do not want the suspect to know when those officers are going to approach him. And that officer is getting his handcuffs out, getting ready to put the suspect into custody. Normal procedure. They may keep him on his knees or have him lay on the ground. Sometimes they'll have them cross their feet. That eliminates any possibility from the suspect getting up and running. So you can see, as this officer approaches, we still have the gun on the vehicle. Not sure if there's any other occupants in the vehicle, so they're going to have to clear that vehicle. But at least right now we do have the suspect, the driver, and the passenger in custody. Both of them are going to be questioned. They're separated right now. They're going to find out each individual story. But before we call this situation all clear, they're just going to make sure nobody else is in that vehicle.
And at this point, if they, whether they decide to approach the vehicle, go inside to see if there's anyone else inside, but it seems like they're waiting. They're still waiting for something, Megan. Maybe trying to get information from the driver, the passenger, to find out who else is in there or what else is in there that they're so concerned about.
Yeah, that is true. And I haven't heard anything if there are any other additional passengers. Now, again, officers did approach the vehicle earlier. You saw how close they were when they were talking to the driver. Maybe they got a visual and they know there's a third occupant in the vehicle. Only time will tell. I'm not hearing any information right now. Pretty much the officers on the ground are handling the situation. So they're not relaying too much information to the helicopter. But right now we'll see what they're doing. For some of these officers to kind of put their guns down kind of shows a little more at ease level as these two officers walk up. That's more of an at ease approach. They don't have their guns drawn in that A position. So right now, appears code 4. They got everybody out of the vehicle. They're just going to pop the trunk, make sure nobody's in that trunk. And fortunately, this pursuit came to an end with no injuries despite some of those dangerous speeds and close calls. We're happy to say this pursuit has come to a safe ending here in Santa Fe Springs.
All right, Megan Reyes for us up in News Chopper 4 over the safe conclusion of this high-speed pursuit in a stolen Honda Civic. 2 passengers, 1 passenger, 1 driver, 2 occupants taken into custody.
Started about 7:30 this morning. We've been following this with News Chopper 4 and Megan over it as well. Went through Norwalk, ended up in Santa Fe Springs through Downey. And so we're just glad that no one else got hurt. We're going to stay on top of this. You can get the very latest, of course, of how this all ended on our NBC LA app.